Okay, so I was asked by some people what my copter is that I fly, what parts I have, kind of give you some tips or tricks or whatever. I'm by means no expert on this whatsoever. I've only been flying about a year, so without further ado, I'll kind of break down what I've got here. I started with a Latrax alias about a year ago and got hooked. So then I moved on. I bought a Storm 250 from Helipal, and that copter is now on top of a mountain somewhere or the other. Got pretty good at flying it and got a little cocky and got a little too far away, lost orientation, and battery died before I was able to make it all the way back once I finally gained orientation again. So it's on top of a mountain, but I did retain the nice controller. So I was able to use that and buy a new receiver and buy some new parts and build a new one, and this time I put GPS on it, so worst case I can, turn off the controller, return to home, and don't have to worry too much about it if it gets out of my orientation. Just started doing a little bit of FPV, and that's been pretty cool too. So without further ado, here is what I am flying. So I've got a Q450 Hobby King frame that I got, and then I bought some Multi-Star Elite motors, and they've got the connections there for the self-tightening props, which I've got here. I've got some carbon fiber 9.4 by 4 or 3, I think, props. They work pretty well. I have a Turnigy AccuCell T100 charger. It works really well. Been real pleased with that. This is part of a Quantum FPV Bundle. Didn't really like the receiver on it. It wasn't that great, or it didn't seem to be. The screen on this has an issue if you hook up the audio connection on it, that it causes all kinds of interference. So before I realized that, I upgraded to a immersion RC receiver. Been real pleased with that. It's really nice. It's got a lot of power. The transmitter that I have on here came with the Quantum Bundle. It's 200 milliwatt. It works really well. I swapped out the antennas that came with the bundle for some immersion RC. I think those are skew planar antennas. They work really well. Lots of range on those with no dropouts or anything. Even behind some heavily vegetation, trees, whatnot. Receiver is just it's a Devo receiver. I'll put all the links in what I've got here. Flight controller. I use a NASA flight controller. You can kind of see it in there. You can see the NASA antenna on top there. That works really well. I don't really fly it in acro or anything, just attitude mode and GPS mode mostly. The camera I've got has been modded some. It's a standard Turnigy 1080p, and I bought an adapter, which I use some Gorilla Glue to glue onto the front of it, so I can put 52 millimeter filters. So I use those because that's what the DSLR that we have at the house, my daughter's, uses, and so I kind of got there, and I bought a circular polarizer filter up on the front of it, which is really nice. Brings out all the color and stuff when you're getting your video, and if you want to take photos and stuff, really makes it nice and crisp. Inside here, didn't really do a lot of soldering. This board here, you can actually solder to the board, but I didn't do that. I bought a power distribution cable also from Hobby King. Hook everything through that. The little module you see inside is for OSD. That's from Good Luck Buy. Works real well with the NASA. I've got the Flex, what was that? Flytrix data recorder here, so it records all the flight data, temperature, speed, where you're at, all that kind of stuff. You can upload it, and you can actually show where your flights are and all your different missions and whatnot, they call it. Afro 30 amp opto speed controllers. Those work real well. That's most of the parts, I think. The little extension here is from a gimbal that I also have that I don't have on here now. I went through a bunch of different stages with this thing, and I've kind of settled on keeping it low profile. I kind of like that a lot better. But I'll link all the different pieces and whatnot that I've got in here, all the different things that I've went through. For power, I've been using these LPD Power 5200 milliamp 35C batteries. I'll link to the lady I get those through. Her name's Grace. She's really great to work with. And the Devo transmitter that I got with the Storm, I don't know if it's been modded or not, because I've heard mixed results on distance, but I've had this thing easily past a quarter mile and no signal whatsoever loss. I don't know what the range really is on it, but I'm not going more than a quarter mile out. Can't really see it that far. Even flying FPV, I'm not going to fly that far. And it works really well. I mean, it's been a great transmitter. Inside of the transmitter, I cut that out there so I can hook on a little battery warning thing. Battery here, a little 2200 milliamp transmitter battery that I picked up online. I'll put the link to that as well. I did put an adapter in here because the connection on this thing, this little JST connection, is terrible to unhook from. So I put an adapter on there so I don't have to unhook from it. I can just unhook from the adapter, which makes it a lot easier. It's a nice little tip on there. Got a real nice, lanyard here, put around your neck, which works great. And that's about the extent of everything that I've got. So I'm going to do a little flying now, and I'll put links to all this stuff in the description below, and maybe a little write-up on all different tips and tricks and whatnot, that I've been doing. Like I said, no expert, but share what information I can. I've got another fella flying now. He's flying mostly the same type of setup that I've got. He's got his setup slightly different, but the basic bones, and it works really well, and he's been pretty happy with it. So have fun, fly like you stole it.